of them as we go throughout. So go ahead and start thinking about that now. Hopefully we can get it answered during the presentation, but we may miss something, or maybe you have a unique circumstance. So feel free to drop it in that Q&A feature right below. All right, friends, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, Future Wolves. We are so excited to meet you guys in the fall. My name is Cassidy Nelson, and I'm the Associate Director of Housing and Residence Life. So I oversee all the residence halls on campus, safety and security, academic programming that happens inside the residence halls. And I get to work with wonderful people like Candace Cooper, who's joining me right now. Candace, why don't you tell them a little bit about you?
Hello, good afternoon, Future Wolves. My name is Candace Cooper, as Cassidy just mentioned, and I'm the Residence Life Coordinator on east side of campus. So I'm over the Oaks Residence Hall and Bowden Hall. So I'm excited to talk to you all today, and let's talk about on-campus housing and how great it is.
So something I want to tell you guys right off the jump is maybe after this presentation, you might have some more questions, or you might be wondering, where can I get the most updated information about housing? And so in the chat feature, we're going to drop in our social media handle. And so make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. The best way to find us is just to search at UWG Housing, and you're going to find us. Another great way is we actually have a live chat feature on our website. And so if you go to westga.edu/housing, you'll see a little button, a little chat bubble at the bottom of the screen on the right-hand side. Go ahead and click that. And we actually have someone live, and that way they can speak with you. You can also email us, which is housing@westga.edu, or give us a call during business hours, and we'll drop that phone number in the chat feature. If for some reason you want to know more, or maybe you can't quite remember what I said, not only are we recording this presentation, but we are also going to be sending out links with videos through an email to all participants attending today. So we will make sure that you guys get everything that you need to be successful, and we know more questions are going to come up, but those are going to be the first ways you can get a hold of us after this presentation. So Candace, why don't you tell us a little bit about why it's so important to live on campus and some of the amazing benefits that we have when you live west?
Great, Frank. So as I mentioned, I'm the Residence Life Coordinator. So I actually am in the residence hall with the students. And I do this because I love it. I believe so much in living on campus and all the benefits, because you have the resources at your fingertips. So we have your resident assistant that lives in your hall, which is going to be like a peer mentor, peer leader that is going to help you get those resources. And when you live on campus, whether you need help academically or you want to go to some of the fun programming that we have, you're able to do so. So as I was saying, like, we have all those different types of resources as far as the library. The dining hall is right there. You're able to go to any study rooms that you need. And also you get to attend any of the fun things that we have as well. Also, I want to speak about some of the improvements that we've been making on campus. So we had a campaign early this year, and some of our students voiced that they wanted to see some things, so we made it happen. So in the back of Bowden, we have a really nice patio where we use for events and have bonfires and things like that with s'mores. And so we're actually decking it out with new furniture, pressure washing it, so it is ready for you when you come to campus. Also, we're going to have a hammock garden that we're trying to place on campus for you to get some sunshine and relax outside, and have other places besides the buildings to hang out. You have those nice places outside to hang out as well. We have a new basketball court, really newly renovated, that's at the Village. Fresh paint, gates, new hoops, new rails, everything. It is ready for you. And we're also putting gas grills out there too. So if you want to grill out and you enjoy having those interactions with your peers, with your new friends, which is going to be your new family, right? This is going to be your home away from home. So we're going to have everything that you need here so you can have a great time. Also, of course, you want to know about some of the new things with that we're adding. So our first priority is to make sure that the safe the safety and the cleanliness of the residence hall is number one priority. So we're sanitizing and cleaning everything around the residence halls. And we want to make sure that the space is the best it can be when you arrive here on campus. So Cassie, I'm going to hand it back to you so you can talk about our residency requirement.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of you pointed out in our poll that maybe you're interested in living at home. First, I want to tell you that you're not going to get this experience any other time in your life. Living on campus is an opportunity where you're going to meet some people that you never would have met if you stayed at home. And so I want to point that out, and I want to just plug, obviously, the amazing people like Candace and the resident assistants. They're going to get you connected to so many resources on campus that look so much differently. And, you know, you never have to find a parking space if you live on campus and you can walk. So for me, that was always the benefit of living on campus. And I lived on campus for all 4 years during my undergrad and my 2 years of my graduate experience, and I absolutely loved it. I do want to talk about the residency requirement. So we do require that all first-time in college students live on campus. And so that means that you haven't completed 30 credit hours of post-college credit, post-high school credit. And so you can view those requirements online. Again, we're going to send you a direct link to view the requirements, but there are 4 or 5 exemptions requests that you could make, or reasons that you could request exemption. Sometimes, you know, that includes a zip code. So if you live within a certain zip code, you can request an exemption. And that way, some of them have to do with being married or having children, or you're above a certain age. And so those are going to be really unique circumstances. And so we want to make sure that those are tailored to you. So I don't want to spend too much time in this session talking about that. What you do need to know is that all first-time in college students do need to either complete a housing contract or a waiver. And so if a waiver is right for you, or a housing contract is right for you, both of those are actually located in the same place. And so if you go to our housing website, you'll see how to apply for that, for the housing application. If you click on that, that's going to take you to our application page, and you'll actually see up at the top navigation bar, it'll either say 2020-2021 housing contract, or it'll say residency waiver or residency exemption request. And so that's up at the top, and so you can click there. Again, if you have questions throughout the process, use those chat features that I talked to you about earlier, and we'll definitely have someone jump in, and that way they can help you understand the process a little bit more. But speaking of the housing portal, where you can view different things, the first thing you can view there is how to view your assignment. And so what I want to do is I want to tell you how you get that assignment right now. So right now, we're actually letting all students choose their own room on campus with what's available. And so every week, we send out a wave of time slots. And this time slot is when the time and the date that you have access into the housing portal to go back in and select your bed. Before that, what we want you to do is we want you to complete the housing contract. And then from there, we want you to search for a roommate. And that way you guys can match together, or you can see where the availability is. If you want to figure out how to find a roommate, maybe you're in a room already, but you have a vacant bed. And rather than getting assigned a random roommate later in the month of June, you would rather look for that person now. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go into that housing application page, and you're going to go up to that top navigation bar and look for roommate groups. And on that page in the housing application, you'll see 4 or 5 different links of how you can search for different roommates. You can search by screen name, you can search by roommate group name, or you can just search by tons of different options. And so you can really get out there and look to see who best matches you. You'll see how well you guys match up. We have this amazing software that it's based on the survey you actually fill out for how late at night do you like to study, or do you like to study early in the morning? Do you study in your room? Your preferences. And those are going to be so important that you answer honestly, because they really help drive who's going to be a good roommate match for you. And so that's really important that you guys complete that as much as possible, and that way you have a higher percentage of match, okay? After that, I want you, you can always go back into your summary page, and you can see your room assignment. Let's say you can't remember if you're center point 1211 or if you're center point 2111, because that's a common problem. You can actually log back into that StarRez portal or that housing application portal, and it'll be in your summary page. You'll also be able to see your roommates' information. And so that way you can actually reach out to them and contact them, so you'll be able to make sure that you guys talk about some of the major things that Candace is going to talk about a little bit later on.
All right, so I know all of you all are wondering, what do we provide and what is in each room? So I'm going to run down some of the main things that are in each room and how the residence halls are a little different from each other. So in Bowden Hall and in the Oaks, and also in Centerpoint, are primarily our first year residence halls. We will be equipped with a bed that's able to rise as high or as low as possible. You will be surprised at how high students like to have their beds. You will have a chest or drawer where you will be able to put your clothes in. You will have a wardrobe. You will have a desk chair and a desk as well for you to have your laptop and sit your things, as far as like making yourself a little workspace. So we give you this blank canvas, as Cassie likes to call it. And it's important that you bring your things to make it home. You have a favorite color, a favorite pillow, curtains, or anything like that. You want to bring that and deck it out and make it as fly as you possibly want to. You will be surprised how students show up with a trailer full of things. And you would think like, how is all that going to fit in half of a room? But by all means, they get it in there. And usually I see students bring in a trailer full of things, and I'm like, that's so much. But I go and I look at their room, and it's so beautiful. I mean, like, from the tapestries that they put up, the curtains that match the furry carpet. I mean, it looks like they made it their own. From posters to pictures of family, you want to make it feel like it's yours, and that's very important. Also, you want to talk to your roommate too, to see what they're bringing. So as you're as you get your roommate assignment in the summer and you contact them and you kind of break the ice and get to know them, say like, hey, I'm the type of person that don't mind sharing a broom, and I just got one as a gift for graduation. We could share a broom or a vacuum, or you can actually talk about how, I might want to not share those things. That's okay. What's important is that you kind of communicate so you can figure out who brings what. So one roommate want to bring cleaning supplies, then the other roommate can bring bathroom supplies. If you live in a place like the Oaks or Centerpoint, where you get your own bathroom, and you can like split things up and figure out what you want to share. Another thing is any appliances that you're looking to bring. We have a list on our website of approved appliances. So anything that's got an open flame or open coil where you can see it heating up, that is not usually approved. But to look at those things, you can go to our website, and we'll make sure that we also give you directions to get to that as well.
Absolutely. I will say one of our most common questions that we get, Candace, is if I can't have my Bath & Body Works candle, can I have my Scentsy, or can I have my Glade plug-in? Yes, you can have those things. Just make sure that your Scentsy doesn't have a halogen bulb. But yes, those are fine. Candace is going to make sure that we get our what not to brings attached in that into that email address that we talked about, or that email that we're sending you guys later on. But just to get a commonly asked question out of the way, so you guys don't have to worry about that, bring those Glade plug-ins. We love the way they make the hall smell.
Yes. Yes, they smell amazing. So yeah, those are the things you can bring to definitely make your room smell great, look great, all around just great, and feel like a home away from home, right? So the next thing I want to talk about is my favorite part, Hall Council. Hall Council is similar to something that you might have had at your high school, called like a class council, that makes events or plans things for your class. Well, this Hall Council plans things for your peers in the building. So you're going to directly be a part to creating your experience. So if you want to have a program, you say, hey, I went to a paint event, and that would be cool if we did that. Well, guess what? If you tell me and you're in my building or any of the other ROCs, I'm going to make sure you have canvases. I'm going to make sure you have paintbrushes, make sure you have stands, anything that you need. If you need the speaker, you want to do music and paint, punch and paint, we will make sure you have all those things. So Hall Council is a group of you and your peers actually creating events that you want to see on your halls. So if you want to do s'mores in the fall time and you want to have the fire pit, then we're going to make sure you have the chocolate marshmallows and graham crackers. So that is a great way to get involved. So what we're doing differently this year is that we're going to make sure that hall council is elected before you arrive to campus. And we're going to send those instructions out via email. And what it's going to look like is we're going to have you make a 30-second campaign video for your peers to kind of vote on and select their president, vice president, and treasurer. So you will get way more information with that through your email. And then you can also just join the general body. You don't have to run for president, vice president, or treasurer to come and showcase the great ideas that you have. Maybe you are a detail-oriented person and the president is the big picture person, and you just want to say, hey, I think this is great. Let me work and help you get that done. You can do that because we want you to be a part of the experiences that is inside your residence hall.
Absolutely. And I know there's probably a couple people in here who maybe had a brother or a sister or a cousin who is a resident assistant. That is a great launching ground for you to become a resident assistant, because it's going to prepare you for the types of programming and event planning you need to put on in your sophomore year. So your freshman year, Hall Council is definitely a platform you want to get involved in if you're interested in any type of student leadership opportunity down the road, whether it's RA, fraternity and sorority life. It's a phenomenal resume builder too, and it really gets you involved and connected. And so we would love to hear from you guys, and I would love to see full hall councils by the time we get started in August. That would make it such a fun move-in day experience. So speaking of move-in day, I want to touch briefly on that. I've gotten several questions so far about what is move-in day going to look like, or when am I going to move in? We are actively planning right now. Move-in day is going to look different. If you would ask me 6 months ago, I could have given you a date like that. But it's going to look a little bit different. We are actively planning on how to follow social distancing guidelines and keeping everyone safe, while also keeping everyone comfortable. It's hot in August in Georgia, y'all. I'm from Illinois, and it's not nearly this hot. And so that was an adjustment for me. And especially now that we're, most of us are probably going to be in mask on move-in day. So we want to make sure that we're being safe and we're keeping everyone healthy and we're following those guidelines. And so we will be communicating more than likely around mid-July on more specifics. You will get a specific move-in date and time, and that will go to your UWG email account. And so continue to monitor that. If you walk away with one piece of advice from me today, it is monitor and check that UWG email account every day, at least once a day, because you're going to get tons of information between now and honestly the rest of your college career. And so we always communicate with that. We don't communicate with your personal email addresses anymore. So make sure you're checking there. But I do want to tell you a couple details to get you prepped and ready for move-in day so you and your family can start preparing for those things now. The first thing you need to know is we have volunteers and people that come in and help us unpack your car on move-in day. And we are faster than NASCAR pit crew, and I'm so proud of that. We can unbox a car in 2 minutes or less, and that is a phenomenal time. We have giant carts. That way we can stack your belongings, because some of you guys on the 2400 floor of Centerpoint, it'd take a while to get up there if we didn't, and you'd have to make a lot of trips. So we definitely have opportunities and carts and things like that to make that easier. And we have volunteers and employees that will be helping us on move-in day to make sure you have a nice and easy and leisurely move-in day experience. So just keep an eye on that. We'll definitely make sure you guys have plenty of time and notice so you can prep those things. Now, getting the stuff in your car. Make sure you guys go out now and get some of that blue painter's tape or frog tape, that green tape that you get from Lowe's or Walmart, and a Sharpie. And every box that you guys have, I want you to write in big letters, Cassidy Nelson, or your name, and your room number, right? So Bowden 101 is my room number. And that way you can make sure that your belongings make it to your room. Make sure that it's big labels. That way it's not hard for me to read out in the sun. With my visor on, I look great. I look like a softball coach. It's phenomenal. And so make sure you guys have it big boxed and labeled. And things are easy to pick up, right? So if you have lots of clothes hangers, put those in a garbage sack, and that way they're all together and all your clothes are in one carrying case or soup container or something like that. That way it's nice and easy to do that, okay? We have reached the end of the scripted portion of this, or the planned portion of this rather. And so I want to dive into a couple of these questions. I've already answered some questions about the move-in day that we've done. And so someone wanted to know a little bit of detail about the music room. Candace, that's kind of your building anyway. So why don't you tell us about that music room?
Okay, so that's literally, well, it's two of them. So it's my favorite, it's not my favorite room, but both of them are my favorite rooms. So we have the thing called the Mac Lab, and the Mac Lab has these portable keyboards that are, piano keyboards that are hooked into the Macs that have this music software for you to continue to work on your craft. So basically you have that right there for you to, and I think it also, I've seen students like play and the music actually writes for them. It's a really cool software for the music major, so it's really nice. That's the tech room, the kind of like techie room, but we do have a traditional piano room that is equipped with like the acoustic walls up there, and it's very nice. And we have a whiteboard, and if you go into the whiteboard right now, you will see that there's music written on it, and it is used a lot, and you always hear the music. Bowdoin is actually known for music in the lobbies. When you come in, you usually hear music, whether that is via speaker with students just playing in the lobby, or you hear the piano a lot. A lot of students like to go and they like to practice in the study rooms as well. So our building is kind of just really music oriented because we do have music majors and the band students that's usually on the second floor of Bowdoin. So yes, it's really cool. And like I said, that is one of the coolest techie rooms in the building with the Mac. When I first saw that, I was like, this is kind of like, how do you do this? I want to record some music. Can someone sign me? I can write something, I can play. But no, seriously, like even some of my students, my RAs that are in band, they go in there and they practice before homecoming. They were in there practicing on the piano and also with their trumpets or whatever it may be. But we are equipped with the walls that are good for acoustics and playing music in Bowdoin.
Absolutely. So someone also had a question about band. They asked, do the band and the color guard typically move in before everyone for band camp? Yes, they traditionally do. I don't have those dates, so you're going to want to reach out to your band director, and that way they will have that information once they communicate it to us. But we haven't communicated what that looks like just yet. We had another question about attending events on campus. If you're not living on campus, let's say, can I go to those events? Absolutely. You can absolutely attend events on campus that are going on. If you want to come to a residence hall event, you just need to be with somebody that lives in that residence hall and be escorted at all times and follow our guest policies. But let's say you want to go to an event in the UCC that's being hosted. Absolutely, you can go to that, and you should go to that. Getting involved in the first 6 weeks of school is so incredibly important, is because it's going to help you progress towards graduation. It's going to get you connected. You're going to meet people that you wouldn't have met if you just sat at home and you hung out with the same people that you did at home, which they are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But coming to the University of West Georgia, you're going to meet people in your classes, at events, in the residence halls that you never met before. And so make sure you reach out and you try those new things.
Right. And some of our programs that like our annual events that we do, I mean, the entire campus comes out to them. So one of them that I think off the top of my head is Safe Treat. That's like a really big program that Residence Life puts on. And so that's usually for the entire community and for all the students, whether you live on campus or not. Wolfie's birthday, we had a Halloween haunted house that we did. And I mean, the line was long. I mean, Housing and Residence Life, we do a lot of big events that are just on campus, and we want all students to come and participate in those events.
I tell people all the time that your student ID is really like your all access pass at the institution. It's going to get you into athletic events. It's going to be, it's your form to get into events on campus. And so as long as you have that student ID on you, you'll be able to attend all of those events.
And if you like to eat, you should probably keep your student ID on you.
And you better load it up with dining dollars.
Yes.
So Tylen had a question of, do we have to pay to use the laundry rooms? And if so, how much is it? Yes, the laundry rooms are paid. And so you can use your debit card actually. So you don't have to have mom and dad send you with rolls of quarters like my parents had to do. And so you can actually just swipe that debit card right at the machine. And Candace, do you recall how much it is to wash and dry off the top of your head?
I believe it's 125. I could double check for that, but what we can do if we can also give you some information about that in the email too, to double check to make sure it's correct.
Yeah, we'll double check on that and we'll send that out. And that way we know for sure that we've got the right amount. And so we'll get that back to you. Someone wanted to know, once you fill out the housing application, so you do the roommate preference quiz. Also, after you do the application, will you get an email about picking your room in your building? Yes. So the process is you walk all the way through the housing application, you pay the non-refundable fee, and you sign the contract, which is with your 917 or your student ID number. That way, and then we put you in a little bit of a holding pattern. From there, you can go back in, you can look for roommates and things like that. You're going to get an email. We send emails out on Thursdays with time slots, and that time slot is going to tell you when you can go back into the housing portal to actually select your own room. And you don't have to log in right at that time. You just have to log in anytime after that time. Once you do that, we're going to keep that open until about mid-June, because after that, it starts to get a little tight, and so we'll have to work with students. But you can select your room, and you can actually change your own room through mid-June. So let's say you're in Center Point and you really wanted to be in Bowdoin, but you didn't see any availability in Bowdoin. You can actually continue to monitor the Bowdoin Hall availability. And if you see a room open up with someone you really want a room with, you can go ahead and click that and you can change your room on your own. There's no need to contact our office. So you have total control of what's happening. But again, that time slot is not an open and closed time. That time slot is you may now access the next phase of this process. And there'll be a link in there so you can get directly to that page. Someone asked, Savannah asked, can we hang a hammock chair under the bed? I want to say yes, Savannah, but you're going to want to check with the hammock guidelines and to make sure that there's the proper support you need for a hammock chair. They're not very tall underneath. The beds are loftable. They are not bunkable. And so they do go fairly high. A lot of people put some futons under there, but I wouldn't hang anything from our metal bed frames just because you don't want to bend them, and that would get tough to move in and out of.
Mm-hmm.
How exactly do the ID cards work if you don't have a meal plan? Does the card work as a discount, or does it charge it to your account and you pay later? So I assume, Taisha, you're talking about like if you go into the dining hall. So the dining hall, they also take cash and credit and debit, but if you get a meal plan, it will save you time, it will save you money in the long run, and you will use those meals because I eat at East Commons at least 3 times a week. And so it's not that you can't swipe your ID card in the dining hall and it goes on your account and you pay it later. You have to have the money on the card. But you can also just go in and if you want to eat one day with friends, you can just pay cash or credit or debit card. Same thing with our convenience stores we have on campus. If you just want a Diet Coke on the way to class, we'll get you a Diet Coke from one of the convenience stores in East Commons or over at Center Point University Suites area. Or we also have these little markets that you can walk into throughout campus in the Education Center or the TLC.
Also, like if your parents want to like give you some cash and put it on your Wolf card, they can do that online too. So if you go online to the Wolf Bucks office, I believe, you're able to go in there and just put your ID in there and they can upload any amount of cash on there if you just need them to. If you didn't want to use a debit card or if you just only had a credit card for any reason, for emergencies, you could just have cash on your student ID card.
Absolutely. We've had a couple questions about ID cards. When are you going to get them? How are you going to get them? I don't have that answer just yet for you, but I'm committed that I will get you that answer as soon as I know more. So again, continue to monitor your UWG email addresses and you'll get a response soon. We're actually working with New Student Programs and the Wolf Card office to figure out how we're going to get students their ID cards. In a traditional environment, you would have gotten them during orientation, but obviously we're doing things a little differently this summer to spice it up. And so we'll definitely get you that answer as soon as we know it, but we should have some more information coming in the next couple of weeks. Gabriel wanted to know, so you get a roommate based upon your answers on the survey? Kind of. So if, Gabriel, if you don't have a roommate yet, and let's say once in mid-June, we have to assign students rooms, we do base it on your match. And so we try to look for the higher match percentages. We say anything above 60% is a good match, which you may be saying, like, that's not even a passing grade, Cassidy. How's it good? There are so many differences between people that it's so much more complex and gray than what a course grade could be. And so 60% we find is a really great success rate with student matching. And so what we'll do is the assignments coordinator, she will assign students to the rooms that are based on their profile matches. Hey, Candace, Kaylee wanted to know, is there a list of what they can and can't have in the residence hall?
Yes, there is. So it's online, and we're going to make sure we put that in one of the links when we send the email after the call. So it lets you know all the appliances that are approved and the ones that are not approved. So like I was saying a little earlier, like candles and anything with an open flame, like a toaster or something like that, where you can see the coils get hot on the inside. Those are usually not approved because it's easily can start a fire. But things like, and Cassidy, correct me if I'm wrong, but Keurigs and things like that, like for your coffee in the morning, like you could bring things like that, a steamer instead of bringing an iron, like those type of things. So, but so you can see a comprehensive list of the things that you can bring and cannot. We would definitely make sure that link is also in the email.
Absolutely. And you can have an iron, you can have an Instapot, you can have a crock pot. Those things you can't see them turn red. Hair straightener, totally fine. Blow dryer, totally fine. So those are the things that we get asked a lot of questions about. Those are all totally fine. Kirion asked us, what'd you say?
I was gonna make a joke, but I was gonna say the blow dryer still set off the fire alarm though. So
just don't blow dry your hair underneath the smoke alarm. That's it. Right. I learned that the hard way when I was in school.
Me too.
I did. I dumped the whole building alarm. So Kirion wanted to know, how many basketball courts do we have? We have one, University Recreation. If you want to play indoors, there's always a game going on at University Rec. And so you just swipe that ID card in, and it's a total all access pass. You can go into the rec. They have balls there that so you don't have to carry one if you don't want to. You just bring your shoes and you play. And there's always people there to play pickup games. We've got a couple of courts stationed around campus. The Greek Village court just got renovated, like Candace was talking about earlier. And so you can head out to the village and play ball out there. There's lots of folks that play out there too. So feel free. Those are total all access to students. And so you can just walk out to the village, walk through the gates, and it's at the back of the property. And so you can play out there with some friends if you want to get outside on a nice day. But UREC has, I think, at least 3 courts off the top of my head, maybe 4. So there's quite a few.
Also, just a plug, if you're interested in playing basketball and you love to intramurals, it's live. Like, they always have so much fun in there, and it's usually big crowds that come and see the guys just play. So definitely get involved that way if you enjoy playing basketball.
Absolutely. Kaylee wanted to know, is there a gym on campus? Yes, that University Recreation Center that I referred to earlier, that's the gym. And there's workout equipment, and it is beautiful workout equipment.
It is.
There's a little CrossFit area and personal training area, and one part of the gym, and then there's free weights and gym equipment, and there's so much in there that it has to offer. The basketball courts, that's where we do a lot of our intramural sports too, is inside UREC. And so there's intramural volleyball and things like that. So tons of opportunities there. I think I already answered this one about student IDs. So like I said, when we have more information about student IDs, we'll definitely let you know more. I had another question pop up. Someone asked just a real simple question of, hey, all these links that you guys are going to send out, are they going to answer all my questions? They'll probably answer a lot of them, and they're probably going to cause some more, because that's just, you're new to this and you're coming to college for the first time, and that's okay. So it may generate more questions, and we want to help with those questions. And so please, please, please use those chat features that I talked about earlier today, or email us, or call us, or chat us on social media. Our marketing team is answering DMs on social media all the time. And so we would love to chat with you on there. And we'd love for you to follow us. We do a lot of information updates on social media. And so that way you can get that. We always send it to your email as well. And so that way you can just make sure that you're up to date on some of the most important things. So Taylor, I have a couple of you guys actually that are marketing ambassadors or housing ambassadors in here. So if you're a housing ambassador or a marketing ambassador with those, either that second or third tier scholarship level, I've already assigned you a residence hall room more than likely, and a roommate. Some of you are still missing roommates. We're still in the process of doing our next phase of awarding. So we're still adding roommates in with people at this time. And so it's not done just yet. And so we are still actively putting in roommates. So if you're a housing ambassador, you do not have to worry about going and finding a roommate right now. We will make sure you're all taken care
I
of.
think I saw something in the chat that said, do we share bathrooms? I'm not sure if it was addressed. Do you want to address that, Cassidy?
Yeah, Candace, why don't you talk a little bit about Bowden and the difference between Bowden and maybe Oaks and Centerpoint?
Right. So Bowden is one of our traditional residence hall where we have a communal bathroom, but the bathroom is not the ones that you see in the movies. You know, as kids, we see like a little curtain and everyone's in the same bathroom. It's not like that. We actually have a stall with a door and a lock. And so you're able to have full privacy in that bathroom. You and your floor mates, or your hall mates really, because in Bowden we have wings. And that's on different floors. So if you live on the south wing, but on the third floor, only those residents that live on that wing and floor will share that bathroom. So you actually get to know each other very well. And I love to say that I feel like those bathrooms are magic, because if you can learn to shower with each other, then you can get along with each other through anything. So we rarely have any really big roommate changes or anything like that. So I love that, because the students on that hall kind of look out for each other, get to know each other, and take responsibility for like keeping the bathroom clean. Speaking of cleanliness, that's the upside to sharing a communal bathroom, is that it is cleaned daily by our custodial staff. So you don't have to worry about cleaning the bathroom. In Oaks and Centerpoint, you share your room with one other roommate, just as you do in Bowden, but you always share one bathroom together that will be also inside of your room. So you and your roommate will just share your bathroom, and that goes for Oaks and Centerpoint. So those are the major two differences. However, like I said, I feel like traditional hall is a great experience as well, and using those communal bathrooms, and it is total privacy. And usually you will find out that because you share those spaces, you're more likely to really get along with your peers.
Absolutely. University Suites is actually in a similar situation. So University Suites is also a suite style. So it's typically there are 4 roommates in a room, and there are 2 bathrooms inside of University Suites. And so you would share a bathroom with one other person inside of that suite. If I have any transfer students on the call, if you're interested in Arborview, or any upperclassmen on the call, Arborview is a 4-bedroom unit with 2 bathrooms, and all the rooms in Arborview are private. So you have a private bedroom. Jade said that her least favorite chore is cleaning the bathroom, and I hear you, Jade. And that my husband and I, we need to have a roommate contract, because I'm sick of it. I tell him that all the time. I was like, it's your turn to clean it. Taisha wants to know, how do you get a job on campus? This is such a great question. There are so many opportunities, even in housing and residence life. We have tons of job opportunities. And so the best way to do it is to monitor our WolfWorks website, which is operated through Career Services. They have tons of opportunities, from federal work study, which works with your financial aid, to regular student assistant jobs. And so make sure you check out WolfWorks, create an account on there, and make sure you make an appointment with Career Services when you get on campus, because you need a resume for these jobs, and they will whip that resume up and make it look perfect.
Yes, they will. Take advantage of Career Services early
on, right? Because they fill up fast, right around October, November, when everyone runs out of graduation money, and they're like, ooh, I really need a job. all their appointments go out the window because they need help make resumes. So book them early. Start thinking about that now. Charisma had a really great question. This is probably the most commonly asked question right now because there's still a lot of uncertainty. Do you all know for sure that the fall semester will go on as normal, or is it possible it will switch to online? Charisma, I don't know right now, to be honest. We have not heard anything other than we're planning as normal right now to go forward with regular courses. When we find more information out, our president does a phenomenal job communicating to our students. Dr. Kelly is a phenomenal communicator, and he makes sure that the information gets to the students in a timely fashion. And so as soon as we have an update or more information, we definitely let you know. But right now, we're planning for you guys to come in August. And I'll tell you what, I have missed you all so much. Working from home has been an adventure, to say the least, as my cat just jumped onto my desk. But I will tell you that we are so excited for you all to come back in the fall. But if anything changes or if any updates, again, that UWG email is going to be the best communicator. Awesome. We've got about 10, 15 minutes left. What other questions do you have?
While we're waiting for the Q&A chat to come up for more questions, I will talk a little bit more about Hall Council and how, if you are already interested in thinking about running forward, you should also think about some programs or things that you want to see. Get a head start and start planning for the fall. If you have some things that you're excited about, something that, you know, we kind of dream about our college experience and based on things that we see on TV. What did you see that you would like to see and experience here? So that kind of gets you excited and gets you planning as well. Even though we're going to have so many programs going on once you get back for you to attend. I think we have...
Yeah, we had a couple more questions pop up. So once you want to know what happens if we switch to all online classes, I don't know. That's a little outside of my scope in housing, but I will say that what we did in the spring was that we worked with students and we were able to give them a prorated amount back. I don't know what that would look like if we did that in the fall, but I know housing and dining and some of the student fees, if they were on campus with us before, they did get a prorated amount back to them to help with some living expenses of going home and things like that. So just so we know that. But as far as if it happens in the fall, I am not privy to that information. And so if that were to happen, we always communicate with our students when that comes up. And so again, we would send that to you in an email. Gabriel, are mini fridges okay? We actually provide you one. So there's no reason. We actually, we provide you one so you don't overload the electrical system in the hall, because students love to bring one per roommate. We actually provide you one larger one inside of the room and a microwave. And so that way you don't have to haul it, and your parents back will thank you and us later on down the road, because you actually, it's there when you move in and you leave it there, you just clean it. That's all we ask. There's no charge for that. It's already built in. And so it's yours for the year. We just ask that it's nice and clean when you leave, and don't let meat spoil in it. That is the one, my biggest ask. Don't let things spoil in it. But we actually give that to you guys so you don't have to. If you live in University Suites, you actually get an apartment size refrigerator or full size refrigerator and a microwave inside of your unit that you share. And so you guys don't get mini fridges, you get apartment size refrigerators, just like Arborview does. Someone wanted to know about parking. Where is there parking? And so if you wanted to see a map on campus, there's definitely one on the website for parking spaces for first year students versus commuter students versus residential students. And so there are parking spaces at the residence halls, but they're for a certain hang tag. So there are designated parking spaces based on your classification. And I know that they're also actively working on a waiver process for parking to allow freshmen to actually park closer to the residence halls, because right now all freshmen park out towards the stadium, and they take a shuttle bus back and forth to that.
So it's a question about, does Spouted have a communal kitchen? And yes, we do. We do have a communication on the second floor in Bowden. So if you don't like having your ramen inside the microwave, then you can actually put it on the stove. And there's also, it's right next to our laundry room, which also has a full fridge in there as well. So, and also every building has, every residence hall has microwaves and have a fridge for each student, for you and your roommates, so to speak, for you and your roommates in your room. So we provide mini fridges or a full fridge, depending on which resident hall you live in, for you and your roommates, wherever you live. So yes.
Someone asked, can we connect to Netflix? Yes, you can. What we tell you to do is use your laptop to connect with Netflix. We have phenomenal internet on campus. But just like at your house, if you have too many things connected, it causes a little bit of noise and it will slow down your connection. And so some people like to bring routers to campus. You are actually not allowed to bring a router. We give you Wi-Fi, and we also give you a hardwired connection to the internet inside of every room. And so you don't need to bring a router. With your wireless printer, we ask that you turn the wireless component off and hardwire your printer to your computer. And that way it doesn't create as much noise in the Wi-Fi signal, and it helps with everyone's speed. But yes, we also provide cable to all the residence hall rooms. And so you get the standard cable package with a couple extra channels on there too. Which halls have single rooms? Just about all of them except for Bowden have single rooms. If you're interested in learning more about singles, you're going to want to monitor our portal for assignments to see if there are any single rooms that become available. What is the most complained about thing for housing? Just to be prepared. That's interesting. Candace, what do you hear?
Let's see. Maybe for first year students, maybe because they want, I guess, to stay longer, you know? So we have a guest policy. It goes into about 2 a.m. And now if it's a person that actually lives in that residence hall, that doesn't count. But like, you can always have guests to come over, but you just have to fill out a form and get it approved first. So students usually want to wait until the day of, you know, to get that approved, but we're very welcoming to guests. And we just make sure that they're approved, they want to stay overnight. But the main thing is, like, they like to have their friends. And I understand you want to have your friends from home to come over, maybe your cousin or your sister or brother, and you want to chill out with them. And we're very open to that. We just want to make sure that we know who's all in the building so we can make sure that everyone is safe, right? So probably just want to have guests stay over, you know, a long time and get live in the building.
I think for me, I think the number one thing I hear complain about are like, oh, my roommate keeps it at 67 degrees, or oh, my roommate keeps it at 78 degrees, right? And I will tell you the number, like, I have to have conversations. If you ask your parents right now, what's the number one thing they argue about when they first got married? They're probably going to say something about the way the house was kept, right? When they first moved in together, because everyone keeps a different style of house. And so you and your roommate are going to have those same conversations. And so communicate. If for some reason you're not comfortable or you don't know how to approach a conversation, people like Candace are employed in all the residence halls, and we have grad students that are there to help you with those things. Make sure that you're asking for help if you need it. If you're not good with conflict, let's say you never had that with your siblings growing up, or, you know, you're an only child and so you've never had to share a space. That's so common. Let us help you. Let us help you have those conversations. It's so common. A lot of times people come to me and they're said, I'm embarrassed, right? I'm embarrassed to have this conversation. I just want to move rooms. Well, let's talk about it first, because I will tell you, it is a pain to pack up all your stuff that took a whole U-Haul trailer to bring to campus from Dahlonega, and to have to pack it up and move it to another space, when we can really just say, okay, here's the thermostat temperature that we're both comfortable at. Let's try it for a week, and then we revisit it together. I think for me, that's the number one thing that I hear the most complaints about, is living with a roommate for the first time.
Right. And like we've all been through this before, right? And so we have those conversations, and those are things that you can get through. So I want to share a story. My first roommate, is actually my maid of honor right now. And let me tell you, I got so upset when she didn't want to let me use her tissue. So when she started to actually take her tissue from the bathroom and keep it in her room because she didn't want me to use it. But we actually had a conversation about it that actually included my RA, and we got through it, and we're still the best of friends. So sometimes it just takes that neutral party, talk through it, so you can come to a consensus. And I realized that maybe I was using tissue and not buying any. So yeah, it's just a conversation and being open to coming to a solution.
Absolutely. Gabrielle wanted to know, can I bring a television? Yes, absolutely. Talk to your roommate to figure out, do you both need televisions or can you share a television? We also have TVs in our study lounges. So if you know on Thursdays you love to watch Grey's Anatomy, and so I bet if you started watching it in the floor lounge, you'll find at least 15 other people on that floor that also love them some Grey's Anatomy. So yes, absolutely. One of our participants wanted to know, is there a fire escape plan and do we participate in fire drills in the residence hall? I appreciate you planning ahead. My manager for safety and security is helping with chats, and he really appreciates that. Yes, there is a fire escape plan. There are plans in place for if there is a tornado watch or warning, and where do you go and where do we do for sheltering. So yes, all of those are there, and they're actually on the back of your door in your residence hall room. So if you don't remember what to do, you just read the back of the door before you exit the room, and it'll tell you where to go. So we really appreciate you thinking about fire safety and planning ahead. And yes, there are fire drills every semester. We do them at the start of each semester. But you should treat every fire alarm like it's a real fire alarm by the residence halls. Don't treat it like a drill. You need to exit the building anytime you hear that fire alarm go off.
Yes, that's very important.
So someone wanted to clarify, we should bring TVs. Yes, if you are a TV watcher, you should talk with your roommate about who should bring the television, or if you're both going to bring the television. Janae is my early bird, and she wants to know, how do you become a resident assistant? So we will actually start our application process for fall 2021 in January of 2021. And so we do an early application process. You do need to be a sophomore to apply, or going to be a rising sophomore, right? So you can apply your freshman year, but when in the fall 2021, you will need to be a sophomore. And so you would just apply through that WolfWorks website that I told you about earlier in this call. And that way you can fill out everything. And make sure you have that resume with career services. Gabriel, want to know about gaming systems? Bring those gaming systems. Bring them all. We actually are working on like an esports league on campus. So if you're a big gamer, we actually have in University Recreation, that building, we have an esports section that you can go to. It's pretty new, I think. So very exciting. And like I said about Grey's Anatomy, if you put that Xbox in the floor lounge, a whole flock will come to you.
I have a great question next too. Are there security guards on campus at night for safety of the residents? You want to take that, Cassidy?
I will take that. We actually have a whole police department just for University of West Georgia. They are certified officers through the state of Georgia. They're post-certified. And so you will meet a lot of those officers. They actually do community service rounds inside of the buildings, and they will stop and they'll play cards with you if you're sitting in the lounge, or we'll do programs with them in the residence halls, just to get to know each other, because it's nice to have that community relationship built up. They like to know who's inside the buildings. Inside the residence halls, we also have resident assistants, and we have a program right now called ResStar, where we provide safety and security inside the residence halls. And so we have people that verify each student that comes in, and so they swipe their card, and that way we know who's in the building. And guest registration, same thing like that, if they want to register a guest. So we have all those folks on campus to help make sure who's on campus is supposed to be on campus. Is it all co-ed? All of our buildings are co-ed, but Bowden Hall is my one exception. It is co-ed by wing. So all of the third floor west wing is one gender. So it'll be all male, but the wing below it would be all female. And you have to live on that floor to have access to that floor or be a guest at that floor. So you have to be escorted at all times. In all my other buildings, it's a little different. It's co-ed, but it is a single gender room. And so Candace and I are roommates, but Andy and Steven could be living next door to us in University Suites. And so just a little bit, but it's co-ed by room inside the halls. Guys, we have like 2 minutes left on this call. This flew by. And so I want to just remind you guys if you have any more questions, please feel free to email us, call us, direct message us on any of our social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We monitor those all the time. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for letting Candace and I be a part of your day today and letting us tell you a little about what it means to live West on campus. We will be sending out a video this week with this recording and several links to some things that we've talked about today and some videos to help you navigate the application process, what to bring, and those different types of things that we've talked about throughout this session. So thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. We will chat with you guys soon. Have a great day.